So I want to, this is going to be like a presidential debate, and we're not voting between Captain Kirk and Darth Vader, but we are going to decide which of these two teams wins this debate, and you're going to make that decision. So I want to give you the rules of this debate. So I've given them topics, but they don't know the questions. And they have definitely freshened up on those topics and know what they're going to be speaking on. They're going to need your help from time to time. I encourage audience participation, especially when it comes to decibel level, if you like what they're saying. Each question will be given a 3 to 5 minute response. The other team will then have 3 to 5 minutes to respond. And the initial team will have a 2-minute rebuttal. And we will have 5-minute opening and closing remarks. And at the end, we will take questions from the audience. So, let's get started. I want to start off with a coin toss. Brendan, you have a coin?
It's a rigged coin. But...
All right. Call in the air. It's tails. So...
I think you were supposed to make your guess first.
You know what? Who's going to start? Star Wars is going to start. All right. First topic.
Let the battles begin.
First topic, universe and multiverse. Oh yeah, give your ultimate statement. Sorry. All right. I'm excited.
Like you said, I really do think that Star Wars and Star Trek are apples and oranges, but I'll tell you the one thing I really appreciate about Star Wars is that the little kid growing up, would you rather be Captain Kirk, or would you rather be Luke Skywalker? You see, Captain Kirk is a career military officer. He goes to college, he goes to the academy, he does his thing, he works his way up through the ranks, and he's a smart guy, and he becomes a starship captain. But Luke Skywalker gets yanked off a moisture farm from Tatooine, ends up becoming the lone remaining Jedi in the entire galaxy. This is not a career path, this is not something that just anybody can do. Every little boy picks up a stick, and it becomes a lightsaber. Nobody picks up a rock and pretends it's a phaser.
Okay, like you said, my name's Mike. I'm actually a soldier. The reason I joined, the U.S. Army is because I actually thought it was going to be like the Galactic Empire.
Any comparison?
It's not like Tatooine at all. So, yeah, it's a little disappointing, but I'm going to keep mine short. Really, look at characters. Darth Vader, enough said, like the best villain ever. Then, if you want to go look at weapons, there's no comparison.
Lightsaber is the coolest weapon in the universe. Search your feelings. Easily.
And really, there's no debate. I really don't know why Jared brought the Star Wars stuff into Star Wars. It's just so overwhelming how great Star Wars is.
Thank you, Star Wars team.
So I would like to start off by saying, you're right, there really is no debate, but I don't know why he brought you, because Star Trek has been so influential on how people view the future that it's hard for anyone to think about the future without thinking about what Star Trek says in it. In terms of characters, Jar Jar.
Ouch.
That's just the name of it. But
Yeah, I wonder if it's going to be a Star Wars versus Star Wars versus Lord of the Rings.
wishing I was Whoopi. When it comes down to it, there are so many things about Star Trek that just make it incredible. And you're right. There's really
Oh
no
God,
toys.
Harry Potter.
When it
wins
comes
hands down.
to, a show that enriches humanity, that teaches us the best in ourselves, that teaches us what it really means to be a person and to live well, there is nothing that compares to Star Trek.
I only have one word to add to that, which I think sums it up.
Is it Shere Khan or some other?
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jimin. So our young lady has decided that Star Wars is going to get the first question, and the first topic is universe versus multiverse. So this is a general question. Which franchise is most likely to become reality in the human future?
Oh,
Have fun, guys.
all right, Star Wars. Let's see what you got.
Galaxy far, far away, long time ago.
Yeah, first of all, I denied the premise of the question because Star Wars is a galaxy long ways away, far, far, long time ago. That's not what we're comparing here. First of all, I'd say it's a low blow to bring up Jar Jar. I don't think anybody in the room likes Jar Jar. We can be Star Wars fans and accept that. And besides, comparing Jar Jar to any character, don't compare him to Wesley Crusher.
You're right, there's no one nearly as bad in Star Trek.
Harry Mudd comes close.
Don't hate a player, hate the game. Sorry.
Tribbles.
What's a debate? You guys, when was the last time in presidential debates they actually answered the questions? Star Wars talks deeply about the things that matter most to humans. We talk about how noble and great our future can be, and what?
I'll be asking the questions here.
And it's pretty cool that NASA is genuinely working on its honest to goodness warp drive. For those of you who are not aware, you should go Google NASA warp drive and it'll show up. But teaching us what the future of humanity should be is more than just about traveling through space. It should be also, I would think, on some level, about what kind of people we want to be. And there is no nobler moment in all of Star Trek than the moment where Luke takes his lightsaber and tosses it and says, "No, I'm a Jedi like my father before me. He's willing to die to be a good person." I would hope to think that the future of humanity has something to learn from a character like that, as opposed to just, "Oh, look, we've got cool toys and ships." It's about the nobility inherent in all of us.
I find this question real fascinating because if you're looking at Star Wars, Star Trek actually started out as kind of, trying to see where the future was going. Star Wars is more like a fantasy world. The funny thing about that is that if you look at society today, what are we doing? Are we going around exploring other galaxy or exploring other people and saying, "Hey, let's talk things out"? Or are we going out and actually creating war? Which is actually what's going on with Star Wars. So even though Star Wars is a fantasy world, it's actually a lot closer to reality and to where we as a people have been going than the Star Trek universe. That it's actually it's wishful thinking that, that we're all just going to explore and be nice to each other and, not interfere in other people's culture because they have oil or anything. But, the truth of the matter is that, we're warmongers and we fight to survive. And that is what Star Wars is all about. It's that constant battle with good versus evil. That's what we grow up with today. Not kind of like Star Trek, that everybody's kind of good. Even the bad guys are kind of good. And, like the Klingons, they're good in some episodes, bad in some episodes. We're really not sure if they're good guys or bad guys. Star Wars got that real drawn line. You're either a Sith, you're a Jedi, you're with the Rebels, you're with the Empire. Good versus evil.
Thank you, Star Trek, you may now respond.
I I think on that last point, you made our case for us. You described the Star Wars, I'll give Star Wars, it's mythological. It's got the hero's journey is at its heart, you know. The individual experience is really what is happening in those movies.
I wish I had to try
connect
that.
with that. But I think that Star Trek really, in terms of obviously science, as science fiction, Star Wars is not science fiction, it's fantasy. Star Trek is science fiction. It tells us what we're doing with the future of humanity. It asks questions that, how are we going to conduct ourselves in the future? And what you just said is exactly what I think makes Star Trek more compelling, is that the characters are shades of gray. The Klingons could be the good guys in an episode, or they could be the sort of unlikely allies. The Cardassians could be bad in one season and turn into an ally in the next. In the same way that, you know, our enemies can be our allies later, or the people that we ally ourselves with now as a nation can become our enemies in the future, just as they have done certainly in recent history. That is a constant evolving reflection of what's actually happening in the real world, whereas Star Wars exists in this sort of mythological bubble that, yes, speaks to the human condition, but not in a way that I think is really as compelling as Star Trek's real-world situations.
So, Star Trek says that the human adventure has just begun. And the truth is that it will go on and on without any of us after we're long gone. But the thing about Star Trek is it says that the human condition is to improve and improve, to continually get better, to find new ways to work together in harmony. Because if we are warmongers, we will destroy each other, and the loss of life will be never ending. How many times have we seen events on our own news that are not Star Trek, that are Star Wars, that are people dying needlessly, that are people who would just, if they would just stop and recognize that, you know what, you're not that different from me. If we could all just figure out a way to work together, even if it's not perfect, even if it's not total harmony, just not kill your own friends. It's an amazing start. And the thing about Star Trek and the future is that it's much more tangible, right? It gives us an example. You know, from a technology standpoint, it's almost prophetic. I mean, cell phones and tablets and cloud computing and computers that talk to you and, you know, so many things that are part of our world now that would have never happened if it weren't for the vision that Gene Roddenberry gave us in Star Trek. I mean, Star Trek fans are so passionate about making the future happen now, they got the space shuttle named USS Enterprise. I mean, if it didn't move people, I don't think they'd have done that.
How many USS Enterprises have there been in the history of naval warfare? Like that's not a fair comparison.
But the space shuttle was actually fan-driven. So, don't listen to him. Fans are awesome.
All right, Star Wars, you get your 2-minute rebuttal.
I'd be interested to see the Star Trek movie that comes out this summer because I think that Star Trek might prove to be
The best series ever.
Oh, that's kind of the debatable right there.
Going where no one's gone before and just fight terrorists. We'll see. Right now, I think we can all agree J.J. Abrams has a little too much control over all of our inner children. That's both of these franchises. On some level, I actually was sort of saying the same thing here. They're talking about the systems that are going to be in place to help people become better, and they grant us our mythological, fantastic point, but the fault line between the light and the dark side lies in all of us. I mean, we've had horrible things that have happened here recently in America in the last little while, and some of the most horrific books I've ever read are about good, normal German people who became Nazis and did horrible things. There's never going to be a point where it's all hugs and puppies and roses and warp drives.
Don't forget about photon torpedoes and phasers.
Fine, which we used to kill each other.
30 seconds left.
The fault line between the light and the dark is in everybody. And Star Wars speaks to that. And that's something that will never be rid of entirely. Although we're getting better, maybe. But not in every way. And this is a thing that every person ever must fight within themselves, and that's what Star Wars speaks to. It doesn't matter what the technology around you is, you have to choose whether you're going to be a Sith Lord or a Jedi.
Thank you,
Everybody
Carl.
has to pick that.
Thank you. Sorry, hey, good job, bud. Got it. Okay, next question goes to Star Trek. If the two exists in the same universe, but different galaxies, and eventually those two galaxies meet under hostile circumstances, who would ultimately be victorious?
Oh, I have a feeling that something's going to win.
Let's see now. So we have giant armadas. We've got multiple different races. Clearly, I'm in favor of Star Trek winning. We've got multiple different races. We've got cloaking. We've got
Shields.
I mean, hell, if we can pull in the Borg, it's just over. I mean, I really think that, Star Wars has a lot of action and, like, really weak blasters that can't blow up shields. But
That's true, yeah.
when it comes down to it, I mean, Star Trek would go all science on you. They would make a matrix of your strengths and weaknesses and exploit every single weakness until you were gone. I mean, how powerful are the Jedi if one dude with a clone army can eliminate all but two of them? I just don't see how you could possibly win it.
I would add to that, if we were just talking, let's just narrow it down to the Empire versus the Federation, just to simplify things. I think you would probably, just on a bureaucratic level, the Federation would win, because you look at the bureaucracy of the Empire, it's inefficient. I mean, it's every time somebody does something wrong, Darth Vader kills you, right? So, right? But, the Federation is about promoting people with talent. If you get on the Enterprise, you're doing pretty well for yourself. So I think just that structurally, the bureaucratic systems we're talking about, the Federation is much better equipped to handle a threat like the Empire. And they don't build stuff that has like a hole in the center that you can shoot one torpedo in and blow up the big, massive weapon. Spend a lot of time and money on this stuff.
Thank you, sir. Star Wars?
All right. I'm glad you said the Empire, because obviously we bring the Empire, but the Empire's not going to come alone. We're going to bring our Jedis also. And you bring your Jedis and the Empire. And we also have armadas and that Imperial starship that just the shape alone, you start looking, you're like, oh crap, they're here. And then just the stormtroopers and just the bounty hunters we're going to bring down. I mean, there clearly is no comparison, especially since you guys are trying to promote peace all the time. We're used to being in war all the time, so I think our tactics are a little bit more tested, like on a daily basis.
Is this the universe where Han shoots first, or we're greeting?
No! Greedo shoots, he shot first.
You know what? Say what you will, but Han did shoot first. It was just... trying to appease the peace-loving side of humanity, to try to make him out to be kind of a good guy. No, Han is not a good guy.
Show us that movie where Han shot first. I've never seen it.
The unedited version.
This is destroying it.
The original release actually had him,
Go ahead, guys.
shot first.
Sorry. Go ahead, guys. We'll get you in later.
Sorry, I like to talk sometimes.
I did see, just a couple weeks ago actually, a YouTube video that tried to do a pretty good job of I'm seeing a couple of nods here, so maybe, I don't know, I'm sure if you go to Star Wars versus Star Trek on YouTube, it'll pop up somewhere. I don't know, close to the top where your search keyword would be. But this is what happens. The Enterprise shows up and there's a Star Destroyer with Darth Vader on it. And they're like, fire! And just all bouncing off the shields. And Riker and Picard kind of look at each other like, why are they using lasers? Right? And then technology, let's be honest, little apples and oranges going on here. They fire a couple of photon torpedoes and the Star Destroyer severely crippled invaders like, oh, enough of this crap. And everybody in Enterprise drops dead. so we can talk about this, but on a technological level, the Voyager, how many years theoretically to get back across the galaxy? How fast can any of these Star Wars ships do? Just outrun them until they run out of juice.
Okay, Star Trek 2-minute rebuttal.
I just want to jump in and say, this is all academic and interesting, but as Patton Oswalt this week on Parks and Recreation, clearly the two universes should, I don't think he mentioned Star Wars and Star Trek, but having multi-universe overlap would be certainly very cool. And I think in that situation, you would definitely have some sort of Federation/Jedi alliance against any sort of, Dominion/Empire/whatever threat. And so, in fact, the two would kind of mix together into some different picture than what we're.
And the Borg will pretty much destroy
Q
everybody.
snaps, no more Empire. Vader, no more anybody. The end.
Or Discord.
You wouldn't find that very entertaining, so it's not going to do.
Maybe he's in a good mood.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right, next question. This question, who starts? Star Trek starts? Star Wars starts. Star Wars starts, right? You keep track? Okay, good. Okay. Would you rather join Starfleet Academy or the Imperial Stormtrooper Academy?
Well, there's a Stormtrooper Academy.
And there is one, I just made it up.
Well, as I consider myself mostly neutral good,
Hold that closer to the phone. Hold that closer to it.
can you guys hear me now? Better?
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking? Apparently I wasn't talking enough. I apologize. Well, I don't want to be a stormtrooper, because first of all, their training is useless. I don't know there's the throwaway line. Only stormtroopers have, such precise fire. I'm butchering it.
There's actually a Jedi
I don't know
Academy should
what
have said that.
stormtroopers Obi-Wan had run into before that, but it seems to be not the case the rest of the time. So I think the question is slightly unfair. I'm going to have to modify it a little bit. If we assume the Empire were good, because I think most people here would rather not run around killing civilians. I'm just going to jump out on a limb. If we assume the Empire is good, you learn a lot more skills. Well, you should take this one actually, probably more military.
Yeah, plain and simple. I joined the military to shoot people. I didn't join the military to go and, make peace with other people. That's what politicians are for. But if you're really going to join the military to make a difference, to actually, beat up on people, then yeah, I'm definitely not going to Starfleet.
Don't make this guy mad. Just point. Star Wars? Or Star Trek, sorry.
So I would prefer to be in Starfleet Academy because it's such a well-rounded education. You do learn advanced tactics, you learn engineering, you learn advanced sciences, you learn people skills and social skills and how to get along. The girls are all in really short skirts. I would be in heaven. We should actually found one in real life. I would send my kids there.
That's a great idea.
Well, of course, Captain Kirk cheated in a test.
I think personally, I would start out in Starfleet, get a little dissatisfied, and end up at the Maquis. But that's.
Any rebuttal?
Oh well, I wouldn't be a stormtrooper. Why would you want to be a stormtrooper?
So you can get killed.
So you can be a clone that gets killed. I mean, that's like wearing the red shirt.
I would just like to say, I feel like I'm now debating 3 people. Plenty of red shirts live. If I pull this off, it's actually the engineering badge for Scotty, who is still alive.
That's true.
See, the
No, not really.
also the question was a little bit unfair, because if you really think about it, the Enterprise has all the goody two-shoes and all that stuff, and the Empire, the Stormtroopers, basically the Empire, the bad guys. So the Star Wars universe does have a school for good guys. That's called the Jedi Academy. So if you really ask, the Jedi Academy is really where you want to go. That's where you really want to, all the tree hippies.
Until one goes bad and kills all of the students.
All the young.
We gotta shake it up. And I'm pretty sure I don't know how many of you guys know here the 501st? The 501st has plenty of groupies. And I don't remember any red shirts getting any armor.
Yeah.
That's a fair point about making it a Jedi Academy versus Starfleet as opposed to the Imperial Stormtroopers. Just because, first of all, I don't think the Imperial Stormtroopers are the officers, and Starfleet Academy is for officers. You can be enlisted, you can be an officer. So there's a lot of apples and oranges going on here. But would you rather be connected and learn to touch and manipulate and understand the very essence of the universe itself? Or would you rather go learn about lots of mechanical stuff?
What'd you say?
He said only if your midi-chlorian count is high enough. Sorry.
I don't recognize that as part of the canon.
As much as you'd like to be in denial, it is.
Machete order. Watch Star Wars in machete order. If you guys haven't found out about that, you should Google that. Machete order.
So what you're saying is the Star Wars movies as presented are so bad that the fans have to edit them? Because allowing their current existence to go on was unacceptable.
All right. Next question. Thank you.
How about Star Trek 5?
All right. Star Trek, this one starts with you, right? Yeah, starts with you. Discuss the role of women and how this role has evolved throughout the franchise.
Ooh. Uh-oh.
Get ready, folks.
So, in Star Trek as... Oh, I'm sorry. Testing. All right. So, in Star Trek, women as well as minorities were given places of prestige from the very beginning. Nichelle Nichols, being a member of the bridge crew, was a phenomenal step forward for us culturally when these shows were being aired. And it was unprecedented for a woman of color. So a little known fact is that the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King was a Trekker. And he said to Nichelle Nichols that your show is the only one I let my children stay up to watch. Because you're not just given a role, you're given an equal role. And in such a patriarchal, male-dominated society as our world was just 50, 60 years ago, that was incredible, and it touched so many people. The first black woman in space used to watch Star Trek, and she talked about how it inspired her to achieve and to do things that no black woman had ever done before. And I think that's just core to my
The message of Star Trek has always been transformational. I mean, not just in that one role. I mean, you've got the original captain of the Enterprise was going to be a woman, and the network opposed it, but Gene Roddenberry wanted it, and eventually they got Janeway. And the doctors are often women. High-ranking Beverly Crusher. I mean, there's so many that we could list. In the Star Wars universe, if you're a woman, you're either some, silent damsel in distress, or you're a princess. Or a slave girl. Or both. Right, okay, but, who's calling the shots? Okay. She's in charge of, collecting information from the Star.
Head of the Rebel Alliance.
But there are a few female roles in Star Wars, but if you look across the films, how many strong speaking roles for females are there? There's Carrie Fisher and there's Natalie Portman. Those are the two female roles that really resonate throughout the Star Wars universe, and they're both basically princesses. So, I mean, it's kind of like a Disney. It's going to fit right into the whole Disney. empowerment. And Star Wars really is about as fascist as the Emperor that it portrays in the movie.
Thank you. Star Wars.
All right. Now, what he said about the whole equal opportunity and all that stuff. Now, the reason Star Wars really doesn't have that is because everybody in the series has a human race. There is no, you don't have to look at that whole EO thing. There is no, barriers from a woman being a princess or ruler, or, they want to be a Jedi. And also you got to see that these are Star Wars movies, and they've had, thousands of episodes to come up with the whole EO issues and all that stuff. In the Star Wars universe, we didn't have to tackle that issue. Why? Because everybody was equal all the way around. I mean, we had even Lando, that he was, was a whole director of the, governor of the whole Cloud City. The reason they didn't have to tackle any of that stuff is because they could have had those positions if they really wanted them. It's not that,
Just because there are no women in high-ranking positions, don't worry, they could have them if they wanted them. Star Wars has token minorities and token women, and they're poorly written.
Okay.
It's a,
Look at what's going on right now. Right now, is there on women, is there a ban for women to run for president? No. Just because we haven't had one doesn't mean there's a ban on it. There was back in the day, but not now.
What's
That's
the
just-
Emperor's speeches?
What's that?
What's the Emperor's speeches, though?
Horribly.
Specious.
The Federation of the
Extended
Emperor,
Universe,
I
yes,
mean, you gotta compare the apples to apples here. Was Luke a racist? That's the speeches. That's what we're doing.
I mean,
The Emperor, according to the Throne trilogy, yes, was a speciesist. He didn't like Thrawn because he was an alien.
Because he was an alien, right? There were EO issues against other races. Yeah, we don't like other races. But we're not talking about, we're not talking about aliens. Races of, when I say races, I mean species. We're all human, we're all one. We all bleed red. That's the whole Star Wars thing. If you're an alien and you have green blood, then yeah, the Emperor doesn't like you, and
or pink blood.
that's fine. Right now, we don't like cows, so we eat them. Same as pigs. We love bacon.
Don't worry, it's okay to kill an entire village of people if they're sand people.
Yes.
Yeah, they kill a bunch of Jawas.
Getting back to the question, which was about sexism, I have to agree that the reason that these issues are never made a point of in the Star Wars universe is because they'd already overcome it. Queen Amidala wasn't a queen in the traditional sense of, I was born into power and I just took over because I was 14. No, they elected her at the age of 14. Leia was a princess, but she was an elected senator from her planet. God rest its soul. But they're already there. There's no indication that women are just like, oh, you're a woman, so you can't be a Jedi. No. They're there.
And there's no indication that you're a woman, so you can't be a captain or a major Kira or any of these ranks. I mean, to be honest, your point is just, oh, well, we don't have to deal with that because everything's perfect, which is exactly what our society said about women for years. It was, oh, no, they've got a great life. They've got a man to take care of them. That's not actually a good way to treat half of our population.
Someone has to say that. Boy!
I'm going to count that as your rebuttal.
We got so much more.
Oh, no, you got more to come. Don't even worry about it. All right. Next question. Star Wars, you up? Are you up?
Star Wars.
Would you rather have your girl in a gold bikini or a red Lieutenant Uhura miniskirt?
Oh. Hands down, gold mini skirt. Hands down.
right now, you're really following the question about women's roles with what you want your girl.
At least Star Wars had more women than there are on the panel right now.
Yes, that's true.
but I'm new to the area and I couldn't find any.
I think we found some now.
Yes. In answer to the debate, bikini versus red
Yes, so
skirt.
bikini versus red skirt, go.
This is no contest. I mean, when nerds, when we have our fantasies, who do we have our fantasies about? Leia in her slave outfit. We do not have fantasies about any other red skirt or anything else.
Red skirt, blue skirt, and
She can wear whatever she chooses to wear.
My answer is exactly the same. She can wear whatever she wants. Now, who should I find cuter? I'm partial to Star Trek outfits.
I don't think it's a choice to put on the slave.
Plus you have that creepy guy behind him cackling, you know, and big fat slug.
ho 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 ho.
All right, so due to everything, I'm going to kind of forego the whole rules on that question. So here, so all right, would you prefer a guy in a red skirt or a guy in a gold bikini?
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, we are. I'm gonna end with one last question. I want to talk about heroes and villains, and I want to ask what defines a hero and what defines a villain, and how does our perception of our favorite villains in evolving into our favorite heroes affect the fan base of your franchise? So I want you to define what a hero is, what a villain is, and how that evolution affects the fan base. How does that affect us as fans? So, Star Trek first. And quickly, because I want
All
to
right.
say
Well, with the hero thing, we were discussing, heroes versus heroes in the different universes, and it is true. Luke Skywalker fits the classic hero's journey and all of that. And you can go all Joseph Campbell on it, like everybody does in all the specials in Star Wars. But if you think about the sort of hero that you get in Star Trek, you don't have a singular hero. You have a bunch of heroes. You've got doctors and soldiers and diplomats and people who are on the front lines of emergency situations. So if the Borg is going to come and blow up your planet or something, right, the people on the Enterprise are going to be the first responders to that situation. They're going to be the sorts of heroes that we actually have in our everyday lives. They're not going to be a guy with a lightsaber who's really cool, but they are going to be somebody who's defending you, protecting your rights, protecting your vision of humanity and what we want to be. So I think it's not the vision of a hero in Star Trek is sort of what you would actually want other people to be in your community and in your life, and the way that you should be thinking and questioning what we do in our real lives. Whereas the Star Wars hero is just a guy who discovers that he's got magic powers, essentially.
So this question is actually really deeply personal to me because so I didn't have the best relationship with my biological father. So the people that I looked to for role models and heroes were Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock and Jean-Luc Picard and William Riker. These were the men that I wanted to model myself to be, men of integrity and courage and sacrifice. When Spock is dying on the glass saying, the goods of the many outweigh the goods of the few or the one, sorry, you're right, needs. But I'm crushed because you look at that and that is true heroic sacrifice because he cares about everyone else and he's willing to completely let go of anything he holds dear to be there for other people. And when it comes down to being a hero, I don't think of glitz and glamour and flash and laser beams and pew pew pew. I think about a person that's willing to put themselves on the line day after day to be a good person, to be a good man, to be a good woman, to be a role model. And that is what Star Trek gives us.
I don't don't disagree on any particular point with the Star Trek people, and this is why I'm the apples and oranges guy, and I like both of them, because it's true that Star Trek does a lot of teamwork sort of vision of the future, but when we tell stories around the campfire, and yes, I'm going to go all Joseph Campbell, we talk about the lone hero. This is what we've been doing as a species forever. And on some level, while I can appreciate the noble teamwork aspect, as a child, what inspired me was the lone hero. I loved Luke Skywalker. Because I looked at him and I'm like, this is a guy whose life kind of sucks. Parents got killed by his dad. This guy's got a dysfunctional family if I've ever seen one. And yet, he individually is able to overcome his own inner demons. And as a younger person, that appealed to me. Now, as I get older, maybe as I become more realistic or whatever, maybe the Star Trek thing appeals to me more. But at some base level, I look at the hero's journey and I go, that's what inspired me as a kid. And it still inspires me. And somehow I wish that I didn't have to grow up and appreciate the whole teamwork thing. I would like to look at everybody and be like, you someday could be Harry Potter or Luke Skywalker or whatever. There's a reason we keep telling these stories. Because we'd all like to believe at some level that any single one of us can be plucked from a moisture farm on Tatooine or the cupboard under the stairs or whatever and become amazing. Because that's what a hero is. And that's what inspired the young version of me. And I regret that it doesn't inspire me as much anymore. It feels like I've lost something because of that.
I agree 100% with what he said about the heroes, so I'm not even going to hit on the hero. But the reason we love the villain in Star Wars is, first of all, we didn't have a lot of episodes to really, try to get all that information, all those little small details. With the few hours we had, you learned of a guy that used to be a hero to the Republic, and because of betrayal and because of pain, that he couldn't handle that pain, that all he wanted was just revenge, and his heart just turned so black that he literally, donned the black suit and became a Sith. And I mean, it's a powerful statement, especially when you see it in contrast with Luke being the hero, and you see that they kind of came up kind of the same way, and you see that one chose to be good and the other one just finally gave up on himself, gave up on life, and just he let revenge fuel his path in his whole, everything that he did and all the murdering that he did and all the way that he reacted on it. And towards the end, meeting his son and realizing, man, I really, really messed up. And, you kind of see that pain that comes along. And that's why, Darth Vader is such a powerful, character, even though he's, one of the baddest guys out there that, you're kind of scared. You're still compelled to his story because, he was a hero, then he was a bad guy and then he tried to come back. And, that talks to us as humans, how, the troubles that we go through and how some days we just feel like giving up and just being the bad guy and just going and just, okay.
Lightsabering everyone on the metro. Yeah, I feel like that.
So just really quick, I want to say, Anakin was whiny, and nobody really betrayed him. In fact, they all really wanted to support him, with the exception of possibly Palpatine, who he ended up with. But all of the Jedis wanted what was best for him. They believed in him as the chosen one, and what it ultimately came down to was he couldn't get over himself. So that's not very compelling. That's sort of like a whiny emo band. He doesn't put on black guy liner, but he does put on a big black mask, which is kind of the same.
He was manipulated.
Nothing wrong with black eyeliner. I was just using it as a commentary on what a lot of emo bands do. But yeah, I mean, what ultimately you did speak to that I thought was valuable was that there's a little bit of good in everyone. And, you know, it comes back to both the heroes and the villains in Star Trek have a little bit of good in them. And so at any moment, you can see that good shine through, and it really gives you hope for the future. And I think when it comes down to it, you know, people need to believe that they can rise to be something else, but they also need to believe that the future will be better, and that we each can be better. And that any one of us, if we nurture and foster that little grain of good inside, can do amazing things.
That is all true, but I must say that if I were to go with a villain from the Star Trek universe, I'd have to join up with Khan. Because, I mean, Star Trek gets a bad rap for not having strongly villainous characters, but Khan is a badass, okay? The guy has chest feet that has to be reckoned with. He's looks like a mean old lion, and he will chase you around the universe with a broken down USS Reliant until he kills you. Okay? So don't forget Khan next time you're bad-mouthing the Star Trek villains and saying that there aren't any good ones. He's up there with Darth Vader. He's not up there with Darth Vader.
Okay. Again, three-person debate. I need just a minute to rebuttal my own partner. Star Trek has tons of kick-ass villains. We've got Lursa and Bator. We've got the Borg. We've got so many that you can't even remember them all. Star Wars, you get one bland variety of evil. Well, okay. They absolutely are memorable. They absolutely are memorable. They just aren't in as much content. So, in Star Wars, you get one variety shoved down your throat over and over and over and over again. Sith. Right?
All right. No. Who won? Star Trek?